All right, so I'm a big fan of what you guys did in this movie. I think for me, as a fan of the group growing up, I never looked at these guys as like humans. They were just like these iconic, larger-than-life figures.
Right.
And I feel like what you guys did was you humanized them for me. The emotional qualities of it, your scene at the hospital bed, it was amazing to see Dre in that environment. Right. So I'm wondering for you, as you played these characters, what was the one thing you learned about each person you played that surprised you, that you didn't know going in? Obviously your dad, but I mean, what didn't you know? What didn't you know about him before the movie?
Well, you saw the flick, right?
Of course, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say that I knew about the hotel scene.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, but everything else, you know, my father's been very open with me forever.
Except for that moment.
Yeah, you know, that's a little fun.
That tracking shot was amazing, though. The long shot, no cuts. I was geeking out.
Gary would have loved that you said that. Right? He's just freaking out right now.
And for you, something you didn't know about Easy before making the movie?
Well, ironic as it may seem, Easy was more the reserved person on stage. He was so nervous about stage. Ice Cube would be the one that really took over and really took charge, and ironically, that's how he is in real life. Yeah. But yeah, he was more the, you know, the one that was in the back, and they would have to tell him, come on, E, come to the front of the stage. So yeah, it was surprising to know that.
That's cool. Something about Dre you didn't know going in?
It's crazy because I didn't know that Dre had a brother, and I didn't know how he lost his brother too. So that was shocking, but it was just also to just kind of get in his mind and sit down with him and just like chop it up.
Yeah.
And shoot the
Dre. I'm just like, this is amazing, you know?
I'm from DC, so I do these things called Fox 5 fan questions, where we have fans send in questions and videos for the fans. And I got this great question today. Here's, go ahead and I'll let you watch it. Go ahead and hit the play button right there.
Hello, my name is Monique Hawkins, and I would like to say that I'm very proud of all of you guys who did an acceptable job in Straight Outta Compton. Corey, what did you call your mom when you were growing up? And also, how did you feel about playing Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton? Go see Straight Outta Compton!
Go see Straight Outta Compton. It's from DC.
So your mom said you had a...
That's so crazy.
Your mom used to get a nickname for her growing up.
Yeah, I called her Mo Jackson after Joe Jackson, man. She was tough. It was always tough love. They met her, you know what I mean? Moms came to set, all of my parents, you know what I mean? Like, they just been so supportive, and I also, just a shout out to what they do, because she's a police officer.
Yeah.
And she works with the inner city, and on their off time, her and her partner Mincy, they volunteer and they've created a group to like better police, you know, interaction with the youth, and it's improving a lot in DC. You know what I mean? So. Just that's wild, man. Thank you, man.
That's cool. Obviously, I know the audition process. You actually had to audition for. I know that. What was the scene you auditioned with, and did you ever get to practice any of your lines with your dad?
The scene I actually auditioned with didn't make the film. You know, that happens sometimes. You know, it was with a very earlier version of the script, but I had it was just going into further detail about us writing F the police, you know, and another scene where I catch Yella with some chick in the garage, you know. But after 2 years, you know, I was ready for that scene, and then it's not in the film.
Oh, man, come on, we gotta shoot that. Someone get F. Gary Gray in here and shoot that right now. Good to see you guys, man. So one of the things I found fascinating about the movie was I'm watching it, and you're seeing like a lot of the things that are happening, especially the Rodney King videos, and then you're thinking about the similarities to things that are happening today. And I know this is more of like a hypothetical question, but if NWA were still as a group doing music, how different musically do you think they'd be talking today with regards to what's happening, or do you think it'd be very similar?
Well, you know, we was all about honesty. You know, it wasn't a protest group. It wasn't a group that was, you know, kind of trying to be on the front lines of any kind of political movement. What we were trying to do was be honest and talk about the world around us, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's what we was able to do. So if it was today, we'd pick out our spots to talk about what's going on, but we'd also talk about what's still going on in the hood that we're dealing with. So I think we'd still be a well-rounded group.
Teach me the art of the diss rap. Like, what things you have to pick out from a person? How do you find out what you're going to say about that person? Like, what's the art of a diss rap?
You know, to me, it's like, you know, playing the dozens, or we call it bagging on each other. It's really just finding out a person's flaws or weaknesses or indiscretions, and to me, highlighting them, magnifying them, accenting them, amplifying them, you know what I mean, and being dope with the flow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you just like head to head, you're just talking about somebody, like talking about your mama, talking about this, you know, whatever it is that gets in his crawl and makes him go, ugh. They just go back and forth. That's all it is.
Well, I love No Vaseline. I think it's one of the greatest diss raps of all time. The one in the movie was so great to see your son doing that. I want to run a couple of diss raps by you guys and see which side you fall on. Not the person, just the song itself. Jay-Z versus Nas, Takeover versus Ether. What side do you fall on? What was the better diss?
You know, both of them was hot. You know, I guess you have to get an edge to Ether.
Yeah. You?
I would say the same. Yeah, you know, just. I don't get into everybody else's disses, you know.
LL Cool J, Cool Mo D?
It went back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, Cool Mo would get him, then LL would come back.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, Let's Go and the original Rock the Bells are two great, you know, disses. How You Like Me Now is dope.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm bad. It's just, I don't know. That's a tie.
Kendrick Lamar versus everyone. after that Control verse.
Oh yeah. You know, Kendrick is hot. You know, Kendrick is hot. He's one of those MCs that say what's on his mind, which I like.
You know, one thing I love about the movie was this whole element of self-discovery. As these characters, as these people go through the things they go through, they discover things about themselves, they learn things about themselves. I'm wondering, as you watch a movie where people are playing you, what is the one thing you learned about yourself that you didn't know before you saw this film?
Ooh, I mean, I really didn't know I was that crazy. You know, just crazy about the women, crazy about, you know, just loose and having fun. I thought, to me, it was kind of boring, you know, because we were so busy working and trying to make records, and we didn't really look at everything, you know, but to sit back and go, wow, we was like that, and like the concert scenes, they looked like the Rolling Stones and stuff up there. I mean, we looked pretty good up there.
And for you, there's something you learned about yourself that your son kind of taught you that you didn't know going in?
No, I knew everything. I knew everything going in. You know, being a producer on the movie, you get to see every nook and cranny before it becomes a nook and cranny. So I've dissected this movie inside and out, and I just think they all did a great job in capturing not just our look, but our essence, you know what I mean, and our flavor. And I think that's, you know, what makes this a timeless movie.
Yeah, wonderful job, guys. Congratulations to you. Your son did a hell of a job, man. He really, really did. I'm a big nerd about filmmaking. I love the way films are shot, and my favorite scene in this film is the hotel moment, because you have a long tracking shot with no edits as you go through the room and you see each of them doing something. This is like the Bye Felicia moment.
Bye Felicia, right.
So I want to ask you about how that scene came about. How many takes did you shoot it? Did you really do it in one shot, or was it digitally stitched? And then how'd you end up with the Bye Felicia joke back in there?
It's one shot, and we did it over 20 times. And the Bye Felicia moment came from O'Shea, actually, his son. It was a coincidence that her name was Felicia. Yeah. And, well, her name in the story was Felicia. And at the end of the night, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're like, oh, we're tired, let's finish this up. And he said, wouldn't it be funny if I said, bye, Felicia? And he did it, and we all laughed, and I said, I have to shoot that. So I'm like, bring the cameras, let's shoot this one moment. He says, bye, Felicia, and the audience goes nuts.
Oh, the entire audience was flipping out last night. It was absolutely incredible.
They go nuts.
Now, you're dealing with years of time here in a film that's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So as a director, you have to make choices of adding in elements that have to keep the story going. So you're dealing with a non-fictional story.
Sure.
But how do you know what to add in non-fictionally to allow the thing to progress on as a 2-hour movie versus 10 years, whatever the time zone is?
Well, you know what? Fact is sometimes just stranger than fiction. And, you know, a lot of what we put in the movie is what happened. You know, the first cut was like 3 hours and something long, 3 hours and 30 minutes long. So we just had enough truth to put in to make it what it is.
Right.
You know, we didn't have to stretch the truth a lot at all.
That's how you pulling a Hitchcock in the movie. You have a little cameo in the radio scene. I was like, that's pretty cool. Now, how does that come about? Is that always written into the script? Like, do you know that's my cameo, or is that something you just on the day you go, I'll step in and do the scene?
It was the last minute. You know, we auditioned a bunch of guys, and someone said, why don't you do it? I'm like, you know what? We have to shoot this tomorrow. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, that's how they came about.
That's
We
cool.
didn't plan.
Now, with the music in the film, and maybe this, I wasn't sure, are we hearing the real NWA music and lyrics from the real guys, or did the actual actors come in and record the songs again?
The actors recorded the entire album. And then we just picked and choose. We cherry picked. There are moments where we actually use the actors and moments where we actually use the original.
That's interesting. Yeah. Now, I'm a big fan of diss raps. I think one of the best scenes in the movie is when you do the No Vaseline moment. Because that's one of my favorite diss raps of all time. So I'm wondering for you, I'm going to go through a couple of famous battles. I want to see what side, not personally, just what song you think is better. So Jay-Z, Takeover versus Nas Ether.
That's hard. I can't judge that
Cuba
one.
and Ether.
I can't. I can't.
Just lyrically, you don't, not personally.
I can't judge that one. That was so hard. It's so hard. It's a hard one.
Cool J versus Cool Mo D.
Wow. Now you're taking me back. I don't even remember. I remember the battle. I don't remember the rap. What did Cube say?
Cube said he couldn't choose one on that one. That one's the one that he could not actually come up with an answer. All right, Kendrick Lamar versus everyone.
Kendrick Lamar.
The control verse.
Destroyed everybody.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was thinking about that with this whole Meek Mill and Drake thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what if Kendrick was involved?
Oh my God. Dude, that control verse, and he did it on a Big Sean track, which was like the best part about it.
Dre sent me that track before it came out, and I just said, oh my God.
I know.
Incredible. No Vaseline has to be one of the best diss tracks in the history of life. Yeah. Not even music, just life. If you don't care about someone, just play No Vaseline. Dedicate that to them, and you'll destroy them.
I agree with you, man. Congratulations to you, man. Thank you for the wonderful film. You did a wonderful job.
Appreciate
man.
that. Spread the word, bro.
Dude, that